What's going on?
Nothing.
Why don't you tell us who you are?
My name is Daniela Pine. I am a third-year student at the New England Conservatory, transfer from the Boston Conservatory down the street.
Are you happier here?
I think so. I think socially, definitely. There was a time at BOCO, we call the Boston Conservatory here BOCO, that I would be in bed at 7 p.m. every night. I would do my work.
Just go to sleep at 7 p.m.?
No, I would just be lying in bed.
Oh, okay.
Like, doing homework. Because I had friends, but, like, nobody hung out like that.
Oh,
just,
okay.
Also, my roommate, she's, like, a homebody and likes to be at home, so we weren't, like, the going out types. But here, I'm out more.
Right.
There's more to do.
Right.
But it's also more competitive, and I feel like there's a lot more pressure as to what are you doing individually, like what are you doing with your life, whereas BOCO, it was sort of like everybody is sort of on the same type of track. That's how I felt around the vocalists anyway.
Okay, got it. But hey, she's here.
I am.
She's at NEC now.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you just tell us how you got your start?
Well, my mother's a pianist. She was trained in Russia. My mother is a Black Russian, so you can imagine how interesting her childhood was in communist Russia. So she was put into a music school. They audition kids, and all of that, like music school, ballet stuff, all of that stuff in Russia, specialty schools, they're free. So if you are good enough as a child, your parents will do anything to get you into one of these schools, because artists are highly respected back then in Russia, still now. So my mother got into the Central Music School for children. She is a pianist. She studied piano, and then she went to the conservatory, but she didn't graduate because there is a Russian pop star by the name of Philipp Kukorov who took my mother on tour as a backup dancer. So that's how she defected in Canada in the 1990s and had my brother and I and Evan, my brother, Evan Pine.
she said she was going to name drop her brother. I did not think she was serious, bro. Okay, go ahead.
He's a violinist.
He's actually really good.
Studying at the Cleveland Institute of Music with Ilya Kaller. And I am a singer right now at the New England Conservatory, but we were forced to do music. I cannot stress this enough. Like, this is not something I fell into. This is something I was forced to do through piano. Like, piano was not an option. We did piano up until senior year of high school, both my brother and I.
Okay. Do you feel like it's more of like a choice now? Like, it's something that you want to do now?
I don't really know what, like, how I view it as a choice or not a choice. Like, I went to a prep school, and I clearly remember saying my first year after the prep school in Toronto, I might go to college for, like, something else. And my mom is like, why would you do that? Where you're in this prep school. Why, like, you're in a prep school for people to go to the conservatory after the prep school. So that sort of, I think, swayed my, like, my decision on to do, like, what I want to do after. It's like I still wanted to do this. I applied for different programs. I applied for a law program. And I applied for what else did I apply? I applied for something else, probably like a psychology program somewhere in Canada. And I got into McGill, and it was great.
She got into McGill.
Not the I'll go talk about that probably
McGill
later.
is a good school anyways.
So I could have done general arts at McGill, and I was like, well, I still think, like, I need to give this music thing a shot. So that definitely was my choice. But I think I was swayed here a little bit. Like, definitely my mom will deny this. But she's had influence on how I make my decisions. She's a very important, influence on my life.
I think at least for some of the people I've talked to as well, like the the sentiment with the parents is similar, or that like, you would think that like a lot of parents are going to be like, why are you doing music? Like, why would you want to like do that with your life? Or why don't you become a lawyer or a doctor? But like surprisingly, a lot of people's parents have been like, you know what, this is like, if you don't explore this at least a little bit, you're probably going to regret it. Or it's probably always going to be something that like you wish you had just given a little bit of like attention to, you know?
Maybe. I don't think that necessarily was her stance on it. It was my stance on it. I'm like, if I don't give that shot, give conservatory a good shot, I might regret it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here now.
She's here now. She's here now. Okay. So this week we're gonna be talking about beta blockers, and if you don't know what a beta blocker is, Danielle is gonna tell you what it is.
Well, it's a drug prescribed to you. It slows down your heart rate, and it people call it a performance enhancer because it does it's supposed to eliminate nerves for musicians. The effect varies person to person. So a person might really feel the effect of beta blockers, or like my mother, she's actually taken beta blockers.
Yeah.
Did nothing for her.
Right.
And it's something you have to go to a doctor to. They have to check your heart. They have to check your blood pressure.
Right.
Funny story about that is that I actually went to NEC's clinic when they still had the health clinic downstairs.
Yeah.
No, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. They freaking sold us out to Tufts. Sorry, go ahead.
But the lady was like with a stethoscope like on my heart, and she stood there for like a long time. She's like, I was like, is this normal?
Right.
It's like counting butterflies or whatever at the window for like a very long time.
Okay.
And she's like, well, I don't think I can give you this to you now. Your heartbeat is uneven. So my heart will skip a beat every once in a while.
What?
And then I went to Canada and I went to my family doctor and I'm like, well, I want beta blockers. And he's like, okay, let me check your blood pressure. My blood pressure is fine.
Right.
The lady checked my blood pressure here too.
Right.
But he didn't check my heart, and that's how I got beta blockers.
Bruh, you could die, bruh.
No, I've been taking them I'm fine. Like
Okay.
it's such a mild drug that like it really isn't gonna do anything. Like she was just being extra cautious because she works at a school.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if y'all like understand. This is good for, what's it called? Just like the scene, because a lot of people don't want to open up about this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just want to like take them in private. It's kind of like at the gym when people are like, are you natty or not? And people that are like clearly on gear will like not like will like make it like some big deal that like they're what's it called? They're on gear, but like it's not. Like some people just take them. And like,
yeah.
I just want to talk about like some of like the effects of it and like just sort of clear up any misconceptions or like address what people are thinking about it.
Okay.
So why do you take them?
Because I get nervous as
Yeah. That's why anybody take it. Can you just like elaborate a little bit more? Yeah.
Well, I've been performing like for a very long time. First with piano, then with like maybe some musical theater stuff here and there when I got into singing. And I danced for a very long time. I was a competitive ballroom dancer. And I never got exceptionally nervous about dancing.
Right.
Dancing is something that if you make a mistake, especially on the ballroom dancing floor, because there's multiple people on the floor at one time, the judges is not only paying attention to you. You can get away with like covering your mistakes. Like you can recover quickly. For classical music specifically, it is very hard for a singer anyways, it's mentally very hard when you make a mistake and you have to recover.
Right.
And I made a lot of mistakes. Or like my voice was not under control when I was starting out, as it is for like, many, many singers. That's just the way it is.
Right.
But I really let it get to my head, and I let other people's, comments get to my head, and it really hindered my ability to just get on stage and do it, do the thing.
Right.
Because like I'm so I cannot fathom those people who say like, oh yeah, like I perform better when I just don't care. Like, how do you get to that point where, like, that's a good and bad thing, because, like, I'm glad for you. More power to you that you sound better when you don't care.
Right.
But, like, I want to care.
Right.
Like, I care. I care very deeply about this.
And it's like, I don't know, like the nervousness or like the nerves, what's it called? Are like a sign that like you kind of do care about it.
That you care. And my mother will say this all the time. She runs a music school.
Yeah.
So the first thing she'll tell her kids is like, nerves are fine. It means you care.
Yeah.
If you're not nervous, should you be doing this shit?
Okay. Yeah.
But like, also, if you get too nervous, should you be doing this?
Right.
It goes both ways.
How would you describe the feeling like before you take them, and then like while you're performing?
So I have a great analogy for this.
Okay.
As a vocalist, your instrument is not under control until you reach, like, for most people, mid-30s or late 30s. So right now for me, it feels like when I'm about to perform, it feels like jumping out of a plane and not knowing if your parachute's going to work.
That's wild.
No, it's very, you're very exposed. And vulnerable is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
You're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a young singer, because you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth all the time.
Right.
Because you don't have
Complete
your technique.
control.
You don't have complete control. Not like a violinist would have at this age anyways.
Yeah.
Not like a pianist would have at this age.
Right.
It also feels more personal, because when a person doesn't like your voice, it feels like they don't like you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess, like, yeah. And like, I don't know, with like piano playing or not with piano playing, with at least violin playing, you have like a sound, right? Like somebody could give me a bunch of different recordings of famous violinists, and they have like their own voice on the instrument. But like, if somebody says, I don't like your sound, I probably wouldn't take it as personal as like, I don't like your voice. Like, your voice annoys me or something.
Yeah, that feels like a personal attack.
That's literally your physical, like, and it just feels like more personal in that way, because it's literally just a part of your body.
It is. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not like you go up to play the piano and the piano is untuned. like that is you. It's your fault that you are singing out of tune. It's your fault that you're sharp. It's the piano's fault that it's untuned, or whoever practiced too hard before you got up and played. But that's the thing, and that just comes with the deal.
Yeah,
you have to get over it, and I find it very hard to.
Yeah,
and that's why I've allowed myself to get more and more nervous and overwhelmed by nerves, and I am in the midst of it. Like I am in a part of my life where I am in the trenches when it comes to my nervous system reacting. Last year I felt like I was in the trenches with my voice. Now this year I'm in the trenches with my nerves.
Right. Okay.
So I really need to understand how to undo all that damage I did to myself.
Right.
Because a certain amount of delusion is actually okay.
Yep, we talked about this last episode. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Or we talked about it with Aislyn's episode. That was the first episode. Anyways, so yeah, what is it like when you take it? How does it sort of like ease you, and then what is the effect that it gives? Like, does it give you more like control a little bit?
The first time I took beta blockers for a performance was the BSU performance.
Which one?
The Black Student Union performance at the very beginning of this year. You were there.
The one in Brown?
The one in Brown.
That was the first time you took them?
That was the first time I took them for a performance. I took one for a lesson to see if like I would react badly to them. So like you never want to just like throw everything to the wind and be like, yeah. First time on beta block. Yeah, you have to make sure that your body's okay with it.
Yeah.
I felt fine. Like I still felt a little nervous.
Right.
But less so than I think I would have if I hadn't taken them. And I felt like that was the best I've sung at NEC so far. So I was very happy with the production, like my product from that concert for the most part. Like, of course, there's always something you can improve, like anybody.
Of course. Right.
But like overall, I felt that was pretty stable.
Okay. what, or if any, what do you think are the negative side effects?
The negative side effects. Well, you could always feel like you're dependent on them if they really like. I don't think beta blockers give me as like such a difference where I feel like, oh, I really notice it. It's more mild for me. People have described it as a crutch.
People that have taken them, or just people that just assume?
People who are musicians who assume or taken, like there's this one cellist here that uses beta blockers, and they take real beta blockers and they take just random pills, like pills that do nothing.
Oh, they're
the placebo effect.
Yeah,
the placebo.
You mix them up.
You mix them up.
Yeah.
And he takes one, and he doesn't know if it's the real thing or if it's not. So he sort of
it's
tricks
a psychological.
his brain. Yes.
Sort of like a
because I'm assuming this person eventually wants to get off beta blockers.
Right.
But the upside to it is like, well, maybe if you take it, you realize you can do it, and you'll be okay for the the foreseeable future. Yeah, some people really think it's like it's a performance enhancer. Like, why can musicians take this, but like athletes can't? Do whatever they do.
Okay.
I mean, I saw this one video, and they're like, there's no competition in music. That's why. Like, are you kidding? There's so much. That's why beta blockers are allowed. Because there is no competition in music. And then immediately they're like, how about auditions? And he's like, well, yes, that's a competition.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
anyways, you eat your words.
But yeah, do you feel like you were gonna take them like long term, or do you feel like it's something that you want to move away from over time?
I really don't know if I'm on them. If I decide to continue to be a singer, which I'm not quite sure if this is something I want to do for the rest of my life, I don't know if I really have a huge preference of being on them or not being on them.
Okay.
It really is what it is for me when it comes to this drug.
Okay.
I'm going to do whatever I need to do to have a good performance. And I didn't take them, and I sang in front of it was mainly singers in the and the performance went horribly wrong. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I had to walk off. I had to walk off because I'm like, I can't.
Right.
I knew my words, I knew my harmonies, I practiced every day with the recording, with the other voices, like a trio, and there's like, you have to. So I knew my but I just, it's like when a horse gets spooked. It'll take them forever to jump again. I feel like that's what I'm going through right now.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy because like I talked about this last episode too. I had a performance like last week where it makes you feel like you get up there and then like you're performing and it's just like you get up and then like you go afterwards. It just feels like there's just like a huge like hopelessness because like, I mean, like you said, you know all of it, all of it. And like in the grand scheme, that can all be taken away from you if you can't.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can't if you can't deal with the nerves, if you can't deal with like the getting up on stage, and like obviously there's people are gonna have their opinions on like what's ethical and what's not. But at the end of the day, it's like at least for Daniela, her relationship with it seems like it's kind of like an indifference, kind of like you said, like moving forward.
Well, I mean, I'm indifferent about taking it. I don't know if my body's indifferent about taking it because the last time I didn't take it, hit the fan, as I said.
Oh wait, so you didn't take it for this one?
I didn't. I took it for since I received the beta blockers from my doctor. I've taken them every time I had to sing in front of an audience.
Okay.
I've taken them for auditions. I've taken them for a performance. I've taken them for like a studio class.
Right.
I felt better. I mean, granted, it's like 6-7 against 1.
Yeah.
But I felt better every single time I took those beta blockers.
Okay.
Compared to the god awful
right.
performance I had last night.
Right.
So maybe there is maybe my body is telling me something.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't get that you didn't, or that you didn't take them for that one.
No, I didn't take them last night. Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like, or do you feel some of that feeling of like maybe you have like a little bit of a dependence on them?
Not quite yet, because I've only taken them since like last month. Like for the majority of my performing career, which has been since like I was whatever, like 8, 9, 10, I was definitely not taking any kind of drugs. And I did dance, I did piano. I mean, granted, like music has always made me the most nervous.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the most vulnerable things you could ever do.
She used that word earlier.
Yeah.
Like literally, and we talked about this before, but just driving home, like everybody knows how hard it is. All the musicians know like how hard it can be to get up there.
It's so frustrating when these like people on whatever, like TikTok I seen one time, or like these like business majors, or like top 10 easiest majors you can do in college, and like music is number 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just
like, are you like, maybe if you're like, I don't know, like there are probably certain music majors that are easier than I would imagine. Like if you're a very talented singer-songwriter and you go to Berkeley, I would imagine that would be easier than being a violinist at Juilliard or Curtis or something. Like there are levels to it, of course, but aren't there levels to like science majors and like business majors? And
it's like, that's the other thing. It's just like when people compare it like that,
they don't know the range of this music.
They don't know the range, but then also it's like business majors and science majors are like, you can take your L's in private. You can like if you like, at least in like in the scientific method, or like at least let's just take science for an example. Science like encourages like you to failure. Like you have to fail a bunch of times to like like literally just throw a bunch of at the wall till something hits. And like I just feel like not only in at least classical music, when you take an L, not only do you have to take it in front of however many people, like in a lesson, take it in front of like somebody who you really respect, or in a performance, you take an L in front of I don't know how many people. Can be 10 people, can be 1,000 people.
I've taken L's in front of all my classmates.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? that is the worst feeling ever. But I got over it very quickly.
Yeah, and that's something. Yeah, like there's you develop a sturdiness a little bit.
Yeah, you develop, like, you have no more shame. Like all the shame goes right out the window when you enter music school. If you are going to throw shit or show your ass or whatever, you do it now. You do it now.
Yeah.
You don't sit in private and never get out there, because then you'll never know if you actually are built for this until you graduate, you know? Like when, like the people who don't take these performance opportunities during their schooling, it's the biggest hindrance for them in the future, because they just don't know how they're going to perform. And then it's too late when you graduate and you have to work.
Right.
And then you figure out that you can't go on stage, you get too nervous, like, because if you are an instrumentalist, being in an orchestra, or if you're a singer, being in a choir, like there's comfort in numbers.
Right.
But if somebody needs you for a wedding gig, or if somebody needs you for a church gig, and it's you and like 2 other people, it's a very different feeling. It's a very different feeling.
Yeah, and like somebody told me this, one of my old teachers told me this, and it's like, you don't know if you've built a good roof until it rains. And like, I think this is something that I'm like really, really learning right now. And obviously I know there are going to be people that are like, well, duh. But like, it just really took me a long time to figure out. And it's like, you can spend as much time in the practice room. You can 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours a day. All of that practice is practice like just by yourself. It's not going to be like, obviously you can in your mind imagine this is what I'm going to perform it right now. I'm going to do a run through. I'm not going to stop. But like when you get in front of people, it's going to feel so different. It's going to feel so different. than it did in the practice room. And like, how do you get that Carnegie Hall thing was like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. And like, you can practice all you want, but like the nerves, how well you perform, those are the people that are going to do, people that can get up in front of people and do well.
Those are the people that are going to be able to win in this career. And that
can be able to cope, that are going to be able to do cope,
because, you know, I had someone say to me, I don't think students should be allowed to perform until like they prove themselves like to be a good musician. It's like performance is a reward. Like it's a reward to perform.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You have to go out there not as a fully formed musician, as a developing musician, and fail. It's not necessarily received kindly in this field, but you have to do it. And it's ridiculous that it's not received kindly because it happens to everybody. And we cannot get over ourselves as like cultural musicians where it's not going to be perfect all the time. Like it is for scientists, like you said, like we have this thing happening to everybody, but we choose to ignore it, which makes me so frustrated.
And I don't know, the idea of, I don't know, maybe this is a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like the concept of like at least classical music, it's like built off of like a sort of like perfectionist mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like, I don't know, bro, these are the notes. Obviously you have a little bit of freedom interpret it in your interpretation and like whatever, but like the expectation when you get up there is you're gonna you're gonna play what's on the page, and if you like mess up or like if you play a wrong note, that's not like, it's not what the piece was meant to do. Like, and it carries a lot of weight because like, bro, obviously if you get up there and you're playing a piece in A minor and then like you accidentally play a C sharp, like the whole mood is just which is like, no, because then it makes it major, and it's just obviously it has an effect like when you're able to like communicate and interpret the notes effectively.
Yeah.
But there's a big drawback when you can't do that. And more than in other genres, I feel like IMO.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Classical music is, you know, it's not for the faint of heart. It really isn't. I will use my brother as an example.
Okay, here we go.
Mr. Evan Pine. He is the type of violinist to practice 10 hours a day. Like, probably not 10 hours, but like, let me exaggerate. But when he comes home on holiday, he's in the practice room. Like, we have like a little like music room in our house. He's in there. You know, he's always practicing. It's like practice. The one time I called him and he wasn't practicing, he's like, I'm hearing clanking. I'm like, what is this clanking noise? And he's like, I'm at the gym. I'm like, what are you doing at the gym? He's like, I'm doing chest.
He's doing chest?
He's doing chest. No, but he spends so much time with himself. And I find it very interesting that he can go out on stage and have such good stage presence. It's very poised.
Yeah.
Very elegant little boy. I'm kidding. No, but like he has that sort of mindset, that personality that is really beneficial for a classical musician. He's not super social. He has friends. He like, you know, he goes to parties, but he is not in it for like, you know, the drama or the scandal or like he's very much consumed with himself.
Yeah.
And this is when classical musicians are at their best, is when they have a slight obsession with themselves.
Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's literally, no, I think, oh no, this is actually a good thing to talk about because I was in my AC class and my teacher, my AC teacher was telling me that he went to a fellow faculty member's house and the faculty member had a metronome going in his house, like at full volume, and it was just like. And then also he had like a drone or something, like not a drone, but he had like a bot that was playing various 12-tone rows all day. And it's a 12-tone row is like, it's literally all the notes in a chromatic scale. Like, it's just playing random like configurations of a 12 of all the notes in a chromatic scale, like all day. And he was like, "Why are you doing this?" And he was like, he was trying to figure out like what a certain composer was thinking when they were composing a certain thing. And then my teacher just like, he looked at that and was like, "Oh wow, like he's so committed, he's dedicated." And he said something that was like, that's what like you guys gotta have, like you have to be a little bit obsessed. And like, there was certainly a obsession is like very idealized and romanticized. You have to like, you kind of have to be obsessed, at least for like a certain period in your career or in your musical life, where it's just like, I only have to care about this thing for this long. Yeah. And that doesn't have to be like through your whole life, because that's not healthy. But there are periods where it's like, I don't want to do anything else other than figure out what makes this tick, or like I have to figure out how to do this stroke by, or no matter what. And
it's usually a very niche thing, like for these crazy musicians. Yeah, like for singers, it can be diction. Yeah. It can be language. It could be a certain technique for your vocal whatever. Or it could be like character development.
They have to act.
Yeah, like every singer has like different strengths and different weaknesses. A singer can be a really good actor. The voice can like not always be 100% there. Or they can really focus on sound. Like they could have the most beautiful sounding voice, but like, what the are you saying? It sounds like you're speaking in gibberish. Like, so it's give and take, but the best opera singers are a little bit self-involved, are a little bit obsessed with themselves. And that's what I've really been struggling with, because this is not my favorite genre of music. Like, I'm not at home.
That's a deep take, bro. That's a deep take.
Okay, go ahead. I'm not at home listening to classical music. I enjoy performing it. Oh, and I'll also, like...
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a fun fact about me, I can't really sing. No, listen, so...
You're literally a singer. Like,
when I was younger, I never had the ability to like sing these like pop songs or like these like, you know, just I could never be like that girl with the ukulele, like just like, whatever, riptide. I don't know, because my voice did not sound like that. I could just never like sing, or I like my happy birthday was always fucked up. Like,
bro, Aislinn was saying that. She said when her friends invited her to karaoke, she would always say no.
No, because opera singers cannot actually just sing whatever. Like, anybody can sing opera to a certain extent. You know, anybody can be trained how to do this. Right. My voice is 100% manufactured from the ground up through hard work, through lessons, through guidance. I can't just get up and sing a Whitney Houston song or a Rihanna song or like whatever song, because those people were gifted with a certain vocal ability, and they're very lucky. Opera singers, most opera singers, especially the opera singers singing in this century, don't have that. Right. Yeah.
It's a curse.
It is a curse.
It's a curse. It's her devil fruit for all you One Piece watchers, bro. She gets this awesome ability, but then she can't swim. Like, dude, yeah, no, but like, I see what you're saying, and like, this is also something I talked about with Aislinn. It doesn't necessarily have to be, I guess. I think because it can be so shocking to opera singers that like, oh my god, why did I just sound like ass when I tried to sing Happy Birthday? Or like,
you get a bunch of opera singers singing Happy Birthday. Ooh, it's gonna sound like the second coming. Like,
but like she was saying that like she encourages other people to like just try to see if you can do more, because she thought that she was doomed too, or like that she couldn't do it either. But then she just like she said she did Carnatic voice lessons and then also like jazz.
Yeah.
And she realized like, oh, I guess I can't.
Yeah, because if you have a certain amount of training in opera, you will be able to sing other genres, like very, like, you know, like basically, like,
yeah,
you know, basic level.
yeah.
But you know, it's it doesn't always work 100% of the time.
Yeah. Okay. We got off topic, but I was enjoying it though. Okay, this is the last question. The last question is, what would you tell a student or somebody that's about to like go into their like professional career?
Professional career. Well,
Yeah.
I can't really answer that because I don't have a professional career.
Right,
yet.
or like just somebody that's like
going
just
into
thinking
music?
about taking beta blockers.
Beta blockers.
Just thinking about like,
Well,
should I
this is-
experiment with these or not?
This is super personal. Like, if you feel like you are about to
There you go.
collapse every time you go on stage, or your heart is beating out of your chest, or you just don't want to do it, like,
Right.
that's probably when you should take beta blockers.
Mm.
But also recognize the difference of not wanting to do it at all or not wanting to do it because of nerves, you know? I think that's super important. Because a lot of people here just be trying to graduate, which is fine. Like,
I just said those words like 30 minutes ago.
Sydney is just trying to
I just said
graduate.
those 30 minutes ago.
No, I'm kidding. And if you feel like this is going to help you get through school, a period in your career, like mental struggles that have hindered your performance abilities, if you feel like this is going to help, then by all means take it. It's not the devil. People who think it's the devil, like, get over yourself. We all just want to hear the beautiful music. Like, everybody just wants to go out there and do their best. I took beta blockers because I felt what I sounded like in the practice room was not being reflected on a stage in front of people, in front of strangers. I'm like, well, this sucks because they're hearing this version of me when the practice room version sounds so much better. Like, why do I need to give these people the cheap seats of my voice, you know?
Okay.
So I'm like, it is my job to figure out how to put myself in the best view possible. Because you don't want to look, nobody wants to look like they don't know what they're doing in front of an audience. It's a horrible thing. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
A lot of other people have experienced it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try whatever I need to try to get the best results possible.
Okay. That was real as hell. But you heard it, okay? Thank you so much for Daniela to come
Thank
on the
you,
show.
Sydney.
Again, this is a very personal thing to talk about, so I really appreciate her coming on. Watch my other episodes.
Yeah,
There are two other ones.
Watch them.
They're just as good.
Also, watch Evan Pine on YouTube.
Yeah, watch Evan. I'm gonna put his socials up. I'm gonna put Evan Pine right there. No, he's a monster.
Great.
He's a monster on violin. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.